What
a
up? Yeah. That,
what up?
yeah, that I try to keep my studio laptop completely clean. Like I don't bog it down with anything that's unnecessary. That was like
Mhm.
one of the only MP3s that I had from a show I was doing. So I was like, I'll put that one on. But that's from I think I've explained it before. That's from Super Smash Bros.
Yeah,
They say I dig
I
it.
need to.
It's good.
I kind of want to redo my intro for my show. I mean, Tex made it for me. I love the music. I want to redo the graphics though,
I dig it.
and I have a new
I got
song. I don't know. I had AI generate like just an instrumental kind of 80s thing to intro. So I'm
I
kicking.
got a bunch, I mean a ton, like literally a fucking metric shit ton of beats and stuff just with no vocals or anything that like are made by our ex producer. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Well, I
I can
might hit up
send
your music library then, sir.
yeah, I can send you like a folder full and you can choose whatever you
I'll
want.
peruse the tunes.
Cruising the tunes.
Yeah.
Dude,
Don't
I
harsh
got this.
my gig. What was it? Don't tax my gig so harsh there, Crust.
Don't tax my gig so harsh there, Krista.
If I had the whole Brady Bunch thing going on at my house, I'd be eating there. I forget how we called it. I'd be munching there or whatever he called it.
Yeah. I'd be getting my grindage on.
Oh yeah, I'd be grinding over there.
Dude, I bought this freaking whole 12-pack of Tall Girls at the freaking liquor store, and they're rodeo warm. Like Texas, like they would have just put them in the fridge. So
that sucks.
And also another fair warning to anybody out there. My dinner last night was 2 deviled eggs. So if y'all hear like a faint, it's just my stomach purpling.
So
it's been doing it all day. I can't stop it.
When it gets going on a roll, I think that you should put the mic up next to your stomach so we can all hear it. The gurgling sensation of Breezy's tummy. So, how did you time travel? Wasn't that what we were talking about last night?
Yeah.
Okay, you switched timelines?
Yeah, no, I just changed my timeline. Okay, so I live way too far out to order delivery. We don't have delivery. There's no such thing. I live like probably 30 minutes to the closest HEB. I'll put it that way. I live in the boonies.
Dude, we're in Texas. I ain't nothing. I have to drive almost an hour to get to my nearest HEB. I mean, there's other grocery stores. I just like HEB.
Yeah. Dude, they re-innovated ours in town, and it sucks. You can't find shit right now.
No, man, I hate it when they do the old switcheroo. Like you come in one day and everything's in a different spot.
Yeah, it's like when your mom cleans your room when you're a kid. You're like, I purposely left that pile of crap there for a reason. That pile of clothes was ones I could wear again. That pile was just ones that I can't. Now you mixed them all up.
I was raised by my father who said she has to live in it, so whatever.
Yeah, no, my mom's was like, she'd bitch at me and hound at me about it. And then finally one day, like I'd, go out to play on the weekend or whatever on a Saturday, come home and my whole freaking room's redone. I'm like, no, I had it in perfect chaos.
Yeah. And that's what my office is like. Like I know where everything is. It looks messy to you. Don't touch my shit. I know where everything is.
Yeah. It's all filed up here. I got it. It's like a Rolodex. I know exactly where it's going down. So the timeline here. So this started probably about 2 weeks ago, right? And this I work at a smoke shop for any of y'all that don't know. And a sales dude came in, and he was apparently they found like a loophole in Texas where where smoke shops now they can sell psilocybin products, like so shrooms basically. But you can't be in the shroom form. It has to be like in a gummy form, and it has to have like a certain serving size, And so he
Like
was like,
Delta
"Man,
8 kind of stuff.
right, exactly." But
Mm.
it's legit. So he came in and he's like, "Yeah, I'll throw you a bunch of samples." So he threw me gummies. I had this like where you pour it in a drink, kind of like that. I forget what that stuff's called. 'Cause I
Rupees.
don't use
Little Rufinol for you.
No, it's like the squirt stuff, but it's powder. But you shake it up in a water
Oh, I
bottle,
got you.
and it
Like you're
turns into
roofing
grape
your own
flavor.
drink.
Yeah, it's a grape flavor, or a cherry flavor.
Yeah, I got you.
And so he threw me a bunch of this stuff, and he's like, "All right, check it out." So to sell at the shop. So I called the owner, and I'm like, "Hey, this dude came in, blah blah blah," broke it down, and she's like, "Oh, well, we sell our own up in Ohio," and she's like, "Don't." She's like, "Hold off on them. Don't do them. Don't try to test them out yet. But I'll have them send you some from the warehouse." And I'm like, "Cool." So by the time it's all said and done, I was training, so I wanted to work like 12 days straight. I didn't have a day off, but by the time it's all over with, I have this freaking giant, like gift care package full of all these shroom products, psychedelic mushroom products. And I got off Sunday, right? And so I was like, all right, Sunday night, I was like, let's get busy. And I'm one of those dudes that,
Let's alter some timelines.
yeah, I'm one of those dudes that I'm a really go hard or go home kind of a cat. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right. So my mission, was basically for the next 3 days, it's either going to be alcohol or shroom product. Like that's it, nothing else. So from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, by the time I wake up again, just go hard. And I didn't really realize that you weren't supposed to eat like that, the squirt stuff for the drink or the powder stuff. It's supposed to make like 6 servings, but I thought it was just a single serving.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
so like Sunday night, I started and like.
Did you see into the future?
No, I saw a lot. I saw a lot of stuff. We're gonna go down. We're gonna go down a trip down memory lane. So Sunday night it started out. Jen went to go. She went to go take a shower and get ready for bed or whatever, dry her hair. And so I jump one of them whole things and eat a handful of the gummies. And I only use like maybe a little bit more than a shot of water, So it's like, blam, I take it. And for anybody who's like, Breezy's over there eating shit, it's legal. So it's the same as drinking a beer or drinking booze. So don't get on me about drug use.
Taxes being so hardcore, Crusher.
Yeah. Yeah. I will, man. I'll do that after the show. I don't know how to do it when I have to like rewatch the video.
Oh, did you get me one? Because I can do that.
I did.
I think I can do that for you then. For her. If you're cool
but,
with it.
Yeah, definitely. So Sunday night, like I drank that, ate a few edibles and freaking or the gummies. And Jen goes and takes a shower. She comes out to do a shot before she dries her hair. And I'm like just sitting there with this stupid grin on my face. I'm like, yeah. She's like, what oh, you fucking didn't. You know, I'm like, oh, I did. She's like, I've seen that smirk a million times because it's like I just get like that. I get like all yeah, and so and then she goes and dries her hair. By the time she gets back from doing that, she's like catching me dipping back into the baggie. I'm like, oh, like busted. I'm all. She's like, you're eating freaking more. And I'm like, dude, look at all. I got like a whole box full of this stuff. Like I got, I got days to go. So this it was weird, man. This it was kind of like I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of like it stopped at my back, right, and then it just kind of like grew like a backpack over me, and then the frying started. My TV's like melting into itself. The walls are like sliming down. I'm like, man, I'm like, oh, it's going down, dude. And I must have been up till 5 or 6 the next morning. I heard her alarm go off, and I'm like, oh, I'm busted. Yeah. And I realized I did it all involuntarily. I realized I'm in the living room, sitting on the sofa, wrapped in a freaking sheet like E.T. on Halloween. And I'm just like all cocooned, and I'm like, cool, man, the real world's starting. And like she had to go to bed. She was like talking to me. She's like, oh, I gotta go to work and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, that's just too much reality for me. I can't do it, So I'm there all, like I think I took like a nap on the couch, woke up and went right back at it. I was like, I'm not stopping. I was like, all right, let me try these out. Like, let me try these out, see what these do, and and so that's Monday.
That's so, just
Monday. Yeah. So this is Monday. So I'm frying like through Monday, and Jen gets home and she's like, still, I'm like, yeah, still. And she's like, dude, you're freaking crazy. And she was getting her car worked on because what went out on it. See, I can't even remember what went out on it because
you told me. I'm trying to remember.
Son-in-law. Yeah, I told you. My son-in-law
I just
came
remember
to work
she had car
on it.
problems. Yeah.
Oh, it was her alternator. Yeah, her alternator. And so, like, I'm like, well, I can't like just let him sit out there and work on her car, even though I'm paying for it or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I got to go out there and at least hang out and drink a beer like a man, and like men do, hang around the car and go, yep, look at that right there, that kind of shit. And I was like, dude, I can't freaking stand anymore. Like, I was like, I guess so. I opened up her driver's door, and I'm like sitting in her driver's seat sideways, and I'm like watching everything grow, like all the grass is growing and the wind's blowing through the. I'm like, man, it's all breathing and it's looking beautiful. Like, Jen just catches me out there. I'm just like staring at the freaking grass. And she's like, really, babe? But like, she said it from here, but it was like here. It was like a dome over my existence. Really, babe, babe. I'm like, I was like, man. Yeah. And I kind of like just look at her and like smile. She's like, you see the fucking grin on his face? Like, told my son-in-law. She's like, he ate so many damn shroom shit last night. He's still frying. And I'm like, dude, yeah, like, don't bring attention to it. You're gonna bring up the beast, So yeah, so then that's Monday afternoon. So Monday night she goes to bed. I'm still putting them back. I'm like halfway, a little bit more than half, or no, about halfway through it, through all of the stuff. And So I'm sitting there and it's just getting worse and worse. I'm frying more and more. I wouldn't say worse because I love frying. It's one of my things. I love the freaking.
Never done it. Refuse to do it.
Oh, it's just one of my
In my
favorite.
head needs to stay there. I don't need Technicolor.
It's great. It's one of my go-tos.
Were you in back country?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I got a story about that too. Watching Fear and Loathing on shrooms way back in the 90s or whatever. Jesus, dude. Dogs were eating me and shit. It was weird. But so I don't know what time it was Monday, but I guess I had crawled over from one couch to the other, which is not a crawl. It's like I could literally stand up and walk, but I crawled. And I laid down and I was watching something on TV or YouTube or something, but I took my glasses off, so it like extra fuzzed everything out. And I was like, man, everything was just like fibery, and like I could feel like the nanoparticles in my skin and shit. And I'm like, dude, I know there's plastics in there, and like going conspiracy style. I'm like, there's plastics and nanoplastics
in my blood.
Yeah, they're coming out of my skin. And I'm like, oh, look at the size of that arm hair. Like, that's the longest arm hair I've ever seen in my life, man. Like, totally.
Why are my hands so big?
Well, all they do is feel things. Why don't they call them feelings instead of hands? Yeah, so I was on that level. And I guess I passed out and I woke up and I'm on. So I have two couches that go adjacent to each other, and then a middle couch, like a love seat in between them.
Mm-hmm.
My TV's further up front. So I'm on this couch, and I wake up and I like look into my kitchen that's beyond the other couch, and there's this freaking shadow person there, right? Like all
that's right.
Void, yeah, completely void, like a void, but he had like this, like almost like a blue outline to it, and I'm like, and for anybody who doesn't know, shrooms don't make you see stuff like that. Like, that's not how they work. Everyone who ever tells you, oh yeah, man, I saw a giraffe and blah blah blah, they're full of crap. They don't know what they're talking about, because all it does is kind of like intensify colors. Your eyeballs start kind of vibrating. So like if you're looking at something, it looks like it's going up and rising, but it's really not, because it'll kind of reset itself because your eyeballs are actually, vibrating.
Like when you're drinking and you think the world's spinning.
Right, exactly. So, and I saw this thing, I'm like, but he's not like menacing. He's laying on the adjacent couch the same way I'm laying on mine. And he's
like Deadpool on the other couch. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's feeling it too. And I could tell like he's tripping too. And I'm like, dude, you're on the same level. And he just gives off a vibe like, yeah. And he's like, dude, this is great. I'm like, I know, right? And
he was talking to a shadow person.
Yeah. So I come to this conclusion that in different worlds, we're both frying, but we hit the vibrate or the frequency to lift the veil. And now I can see him frying and he can see me, and I'm a shadow person to him, like he's a shadow person to me, but he's like a regular dude, in his own world. And it might have even been me from a different parallel dimension. But it's all real at this point. Like, I'm like, this is what's really going on. This is what's happening. Yeah, because I know everything about all this stuff.
The shadow knows.
Right. And so like I'm like chilling with him, and we were watching, I forgot what we were watching. I think it was maybe Deadpool or something, or maybe End Games. I don't remember. But we're chilling, and eventually, like, I'm like, dude, I gotta go to bed, dude. It's like, June's fixing to wake up. You can start seeing like the lightness in the windows coming up. Like, I'm like, it's almost daylight again.
Hear the
I was like, all
birds.
right, well,
Oh.
yeah. I was like, we'll continue this. I was like, I'm gonna go take a nap. We'll get back out. So that's pretty much exactly what happened. I went and I laid down, and a little bit later, Jen got up, and I'm like, oh, reality. Like, oh, work sucks, life sucks. Like, get up, go to work to pay taxes, to come home to a house you can't stay at because you're at work trying to pay it off, and driving down a road that you have to pay for in a car that you still got to pay for even though you paid for it. Like going through all that shit in my head. And so eventually I dozed off, and then Tuesday, so I had to work Wednesday. So I woke up Tuesday around noon, and I'm like, all right, I got these last pieces left, man. Let me knock them out now. That way I can get to bed early, and, I'll be straight for Wednesday. And so I did. I commenced to, like, while I'm doing shots, freaking drinking beers, just finishing them all off. And Jen gets home. She's like, again, she's just she's never done psychedelics or anything, so she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand it. So she's like, "What the hell?" You and that shit-eating grin, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, man." And so so I'm like frying all day long. What up, Josh? And
hey, Josh.
mind y'all, like I said, this is all legal. It's a legal freaking loophole. So don't be like, Breezy's doing illegal activities. No, it's all completely legit. So Tuesday from like noon till the time she got home, I'm like pedal to the metal and just going at it, trying to consume all this, before the earlier the better. That way, I can get it out of my system by the time I got to go to work in the morning. And so by the time she gets home, like, I'm freaking plastered. Like, my walls are rainbows, and my TV's breathing. Like, it's literally got the same breath as a respiratory rate as I do. It's all, and I'm like, hey, I've got the same thing going on. And so I guess, I don't know if I either blacked out maybe from drinking or passed out. But I came to on the couch, and I'm like, oh crap. I look at my phone. I'm like, dude, it's like 11:30, 11:45. And I was like, man, dude, I'm going to be late for work. I go running into the bedroom, and Jen's like doing her hair and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to be late for work. It's already freaking 12 o'clock almost. And I got to be at work at 12. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I was like, I don't even know if I can drive, through.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she looks at me. She's like, do you see any fucking sun outside? I'm like, look at the window. I'm yeah, there sure is. She's like, because it's freaking midnight. It's not. I was like, oh, thank God. And I like crawl into bed. I'm like, these pillows are so comfortable. They're so cold. I'm like, these are my friends. They're like my best. They're like my freaking best friends in the world. I was like,
my pillows are my best friends every night too. Like, I'm excited to be reacquainted with them.
Right. Well, I do that. I've been known to do that. Like, one time, me and her, we took a trip to Vegas, and I got back, and I realized I had some non-legit, non-legal ones in the freezer. I was like, oh yeah, I still got those. So the whole rest of the night, I was like sitting there and freaking frying out. And she put her feet from one couch to the other across my across my leg, and I swear, like, her toes were like my best friends. They were like my freaking homies. You know, all of them except for the big toe. The big toe is a dick. Like, I didn't like him. I was like, y'all are, yeah. I'm like, y'all are all cool, man. Y'all are my peeps, man. But you're shady, dude. Like, I'm like, I know you, man.
Got my eye on you.
Right. Freaky Geek. Apparently, they found like a loophole in Texas to where you can legally sell psilocybin product, but you can't sell like mushrooms. But it has to do with the verbiage and the serving size dosage. But you can legally go into like Planet K or any smoke shop in Texas and buy like
I
mushroom
don't think
product.
I've ever been into a smoke shop.
Really?
I don't think so.
They're fun. They used to be like ritual for me. Like, it was like, be like, dude, this Saturday I'm gonna freaking get my paycheck and I'm gonna go in there and, you know.
I mean, my brother goes in. I mean, okay, so my brother bought so much Delta 8 because I don't keep up on. I don't know if it's legal anymore. If it isn't, I have no clue because I don't do it. I don't keep up with it. But my brother like went completely batshit when he thought that they were going to make it illegal, and he bought so much of it, and shoved it all at me. I swear to God, I've got like 50 bags of it, like in ammo boxes. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? Like, I'm not going to eat that. So he's like, sis, he'd call me up periodically. Do you still have any? And I was like, yeah, I still have all of it.
Every single bit of it.
Well, okay, all of it, but I don't do edibles, man. I haven't like done anything like that since I was like in my 20s. So
right.
I have for a long time had lower back issues. Like, I have a bulging disc, like one of my lower, like one of my lumbar things is like bulging out, and occasionally it will hit my sciatic nerve, and I can't hardly move when that happens. It hurts so bad. And I want to say it was Easter, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, this is how long I've been. I don't even know if that shit's still good. But he was like, sis, that's the whole, you need to take one of those Delta 8 gummies, and it's for pain. Like, one of my coworkers, she says that she takes one and it helps her go to sleep. And my coworker was like, oh yeah, man, I take one and it helps me go to sleep. He goes, it takes about an hour or so to kick in. And he goes, and then you just kind of relax and go to sleep. And I was like, no, I don't know. I hurt so bad on Easter, and I was having to cook for everybody. So I'm going to like bend over and put stuff in the stove, and I'm standing there like mixing things because that's what I do on holidays. I cook for everybody. And my brother's like, sis, just take the stupid gummy. Like, it'll help with the pain. I'm telling you, it'll help with the pain. So I ate the stupid gummy. And then I got angry because about an hour later, when it kicked in, I was still in pain, but I was messed up. I mean, it's supposed to be like synthetic weed, right? Is what I understood.
Well, no. So Delta 8 is actually derived from hemp. So they basically figured out a way to juice an entire tree, and put it into a drop, So if you juice enough trees, like it'd be like smoking the whole tree in one hit, kind of a thing.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
It'll get on top.
Yeah, especially somebody who doesn't do it ever, right? Oh shit!
Right.
Fuck my own house. So I take the gummy, and I'm thinking of my coworker who was like, "Oh, it takes about an hour." I hear his voice in my head, and I'm like, "Okay, like it'll stop hurting in an hour." Because I had this ham that I was like marinating and like putting the honey and crap on, and I had to keep bending over and lifting this heavy ass thing out of the oven. It was killing me. So I'm thinking, okay, like in an hour it'll be better. No, No, I was tripping balls,
No.
still in pain, and still had to cook for everybody. I was pissed.
Yeah.
So I was looking at my brother. I'm on the
No.
couch. I'm like, you son of a bitch. It still hurts. He goes, is it kicking in? I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's kicked in. And he goes, you feel better? I was like, no, I don't at all feel better. At all. I could feel like pressure waves on me. Like I could feel the air, I could feel the atmosphere. is what it was like. If the wind blew, I swear I could feel the pressure from the wind. You know, it was like, this sucks, man. This sucks. I'm in pain. Yeah. I'm tripping. I've got to try to remember how to cook everything now. It upset me a lot, and I haven't eaten another one. My brother tricked me into it.
No, see, yeah. Delta 8's is psychotropic, so yeah, that's all it's going to do is get you toasty.
Yeah, well,
there is a so they did. It's so crazy, man. How, because you think of stoners and stuff, and you think that the science is the last thing you think when you think of them cats, but they figured out. So there's a product that's called CBN. So that is the properties of the cannabinoid that is strictly for pain relief and sleeping. So
that's what I need.
You get like a CB, yeah. If you need you need like a CBD CBN blend, and that'll get your melatonin going, and it'll focus strictly on the pain. So
yeah, that's what I need.
There is a big step to it, yeah.
Because I mean, I'm in constant pain in my back, but I don't want to have surgery.
Yeah. Oh no. Back and brain surgery, they're not equipped well enough for anything.
Live with it until one day I can't move my legs.
Right. Yeah.
Which has happened before. One time it got so bad, I couldn't get out of bed. Poor Chris. I mean, literally had to hook his arms, drag me into the bathroom and throw me in the tub so I could take a shower. He had to I literally could put no weight on any of my lower half. Yeah.
Yeah, I get the sciatic nerve pretty bad too. I've had that since, it's weird. I had that when I was a freaking kid. When I was in 4th, 5th grade, I'd have to where that whole right side just in pain like crazy. I remember there were times when I'd be changing the chain on my bicycle, but I'd have to sit down Indian style because I couldn't bend down on my knees to do it because my back was so jacked up.
Yeah, I mean, and I garden, I'm out there literally with the shovel, turning earth and getting down there and digging rocks out and and I don't know. I mean, at least it's doing something I enjoy. I figure maybe it's a little bit of exercise. Maybe it'll stretch my back. Maybe it'll strengthen my back. I need to do core exercises is what I need to do because it'll help with my back if I do core exercises.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, to sum that whole thing up, so that was a 3-day thing, but it was a freaking I was in there for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. That's literally what it felt like. So last night when we did the show, it literally felt to me like we hadn't done a show in a month. Because that whole trip freaking took way longer than 3 days as far, because you lose your sense of time and all that goes right out the freaking window. So yeah, it was really it really put me off. I was like I said, by the last of it, I didn't know if it was day or night. I didn't know if I had to be at work in 15 minutes or 12 hours. Yeah, it was a trip.
Good thing you don't operate heavy machinery.
Right. Yeah, okay. I would have refused, just simply refused. Yeah. But that's not the first time. Because and it kind of woke a sleeping giant. because like I said, like I love to do that. I like going into the psychedelic world. It's just one of my favorite things to do. And now I'm like, I'm almost kind of frightened because I'm like, wait a minute. You mean it's completely, I can buy it at the freaking store? Like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, hell of a trip you had there, Breezy. You had a 2-week-long trip in 3 days.
In 3 days. It was great.
He's like, I feel like you haven't had a show in a month. And I was like, yeah, my week went old. Felt like that to me too. And then he's like, no, my timeline shifted.
It did, dude. I
was like, did CERN fire up near you recently?
I do. And then, with all this, like, because I don't think I've visited that world since I got really hard and heavy into a lot of the subjects that we discussed. So, like, I'm sitting outside and I'm like, dude, that's not the real sun, man. That's a sun simulator. That's what they're using for Project Bluebeam. Look at, and I'm like getting, like, remembering, like, videos of, I don't know if you've seen it, where it's like the sunflowers are looking away from the sun instead of towards it. Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's freaking off. I'm like, dude, you can see the way the grass is growing. It should be twice as tall right now. And why isn't it turning brown? Because it hasn't rained. And it's because of the stuff they're putting in the sky, man. Look at that cloud. That's not a real cloud. Just going off in my nugget.
That's why I don't want to take psychedelics or any kind of like psychotropic anything, because I have a lot of useless info floating around up here, and not all of it is good. Not all of it is good. I don't need that tap dancing out, doing the can and texture across the room for me. Like, it needs to stay in there and stay in the dark places in there.
Hello, my ragtime girl. Like that freaking frog.
Yeah. Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling.
Hello, my you're like, look, it's all ribbit.
And it probably would. Yeah, that's what I mean, when I was in my 20s and my brother was trying to get me to do the shrooms, and I was like, hell nah, dude. I mean, even back in my 20s, I was like, son. Even then, I was like, I know, I got a lot of stuff in there that don't need to come out.
But yeah, but it's weird because, like, if I go back to past experiences and stuff, I've had like really unreal things happen to me. Like I remember one time we just started. It was like me and like 3 or 4 of my friends, and we're hanging out outside out in the middle of the country, and he had this freaking like a barbell, so like a weight bench set, but it was just a barbell, and he was like digging a hole in the ground. He was like just chopping away at it, and we started freaking tripping, and then out of the middle of nowhere, he's like, dude, he's like, where'd the hole go? And we were like, what? And we look over, and he's been at it for like 45 minutes to an hour. He dug a pretty substantial hole. There was no hole, like, at all. And like, we're looking around, we're like poking around, and it was gone. Like, no, I shit you not. I don't know what the hell happened to it. We never found it. The next day, we even went outside, looked for a place where he was jabbing this freaking pole into it wasn't there. It wasn't there at all. I've had a few of those, man, that may make you get into the back then in the 90s and 2000s, you didn't even hear about simulation or it being in the Matrix type. So that shit, the movie hadn't even come out. You know what I mean? So but now you look back on it and it's like, wait a minute, like, is that what like, could that been what really happened? Like, I don't know. It's weird because
we're in a simulation.
Yeah, I think I used a cheat code. I was up, down, left, right, BA game.
Hey, remember we had that conversation last night? I don't know how to use the controllers like that. My brain short circuits. It's like you can go like just like the old Mario Brothers. I can do a 2-dimensional hop. I can't do the up, down, left, right. Trigger. I can't.
Well, that was the Contra code that gave you the 30 lives. Right before Contra came on, you did the up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. You're playing.
I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
Like I knew there were cheat codes, but again,
and see,
my brain can't do that.
What's weird about that is because I think back to stuff like that. This goes kind of into the simulation kind of a thing. Like we didn't have internet, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're talking regular Nintendo NES. And I wasn't by any means. Our family was not wealthy at all. In fact, quite the opposite. And so I didn't have like Nintendo game magazines or anything like that. But then I think about like, how did I learn that freaking cheat code? Like, was it just word of mouth?
That had it at school.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But it's like, I don't know. It's just weird how there's a few things that I think of when I was a kid, and I'm like, how did I figure that out? Like because there wasn't, there wasn't an internet. There wasn't any kind of like.
There wasn't an internet, but words still got around.
Yeah,
words still got around. Like one kid heard it from their cousin who heard it from somebody else while they were on spring break or over at their cousins in Michigan for the summer. And that information traveled to Oregon and you shared it with that group. And maybe somebody in that group traveled to Southern California to visit their family for like Christmas break.
That's true.
Info gets around.
Yeah, because that's how you heard about music.
Yeah.
I mean, other than MTV.
Yeah, MTV was it for me. Like, the minute I came home, MTV went on.
Yeah.
And that's all I watched. And then I'd get upset. I mean, I kind of watched 120 minutes. Like I liked Eon Flux.
Okay, yeah.
Like when Headbangers Ball would come on, because I was not into like heavy metal. And I was like, God, listen to this crap. Which is so funny because it's like all Chris listens to.
Yeah, I loved Headbangers Ball back then. Like, because that was when like Metallica's One first hit MTV.
Yeah.
And Pantera.
I mean, I liked Metallica, but there were like some bands I was just like, please stop making noise. Because I was like, all it is somebody screaming like way too close to a mic. Like, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, Scott's Life. No, that's not my artwork. Actually, these are all either autographs or autographed artwork from horror movie actors and actresses and artists that do all this stuff.
Sweet.
And I'm going to build Monica's collection up. I'm telling you, I'm gonna build your collection up. Like I think Danielle Harris will be the first one to get you. Because she's going to be in town next weekend.
Sweet.
And so I'll get you. Oh, and William Forsythe's going to be there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's going to be out there.
That's cool. I'm excited about Joe Bob. I want Joe Bob's autograph.
Mm-hmm.
I do want
Speaking of Joe Bob, he started at 9:00 Eastern tonight. Is the night marathon, and he's covering nine different movies. So for any of y'all that's planning on tuning in for the Labor Day 80s horror movie show, that'd be a good thing to watch. Do some homework on it.
It's so funny because we were talking about it. Like Crystal said, Monica is not a Slayer fan. No, not really. But my husband is. He can tell you the lead singer, the backup, like the freaking bass guitarist. He can tell you all that for like almost all of the bands. And when we're in the car, he doesn't want to listen to my music. I sure the hell don't want to listen to his. So you know what we listen to? Jazz. We listen to jazz. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I have a whole jazz playlist, and that's what we listen to because it's like a compromise. We both like jazz.
That's funny. Me and Jen literally. It depends on whose car you're in. If I'm in her car, I have to listen to what she listens to, and she listens to like. She's born in '87, so like, she likes Spice Girls and Nicki Minaj and all that. I'm like, God, dude, it's
she's
so
young.
freaking horrible.
Now, I've got a whole 80s compilation, which is a little bit of like everything that was popular, like in the late 80s, I'd say. I've got country and I've got like Def Leppard and Metallica and that kind of thing. Right. But I've also got I got a lot of Duran Duran because I like Duran Duran. Love Duran Duran. Yeah. Chris took me to see them like a year or two ago in Fort Worth.
I remember I had the 45 Duran Duran like in 80. Shit, that had to be like 84, 85. Yeah, my cousin, my older cousin, she switched up. She grew up with my grandma, so she was like rich,
Yeah.
But she gave me her record player because everything moved to cassette. So she like, was like got rid of her freaking all of her LPs and she was like, "Here, you can have this crap. I'm moving on up." And I'm like, "Sweet." Records, man.
Oh, what did Ristall say? My wife and I have an agreement when we're in the car, the driver has control of the music. Unless I'm driving, then it's all her. That is the rule, that the driver picks the music and the passenger shuts their pie hole. Right? Supernatural, like, confirmed that.
Yeah. Now our one agreement is Diane Wood. Like we can both listen to Diane Wood like nonstop. So
yeah,
that's like our one neutral. Yeah.
See, because I have a whole playlist on my phone that it's Chris's playlist. So if we're like on a long car trip, like 5+ hours, I'll throw on the Chris's playlist, which is the music I already had in my phone that I know he'll listen to.
Right.
And it's not jazz, like, it got like, got like Metallica and all, like Rob Zombie, all this stuff that I've already got in there. And
Rob Zombie, yeah, that's a favorite of Jen's too.
And Saliva.
Rob Zombie or White Zombie?
Rob Zombie, not White. Yeah, not quite that old.
Actually, Rob Zombie, Dragula, that whole album or whatever, is great for shooting pool. Like it'll literally get you in that.
That gets you in the mood for dang near anything that, yeah. That's what I would listen to when I'd go running or when I'd go to the gym was Rob Zombie. So it's got the right.
I can see it.
It's got the right beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to think. Oh, speaking of Saliva, my friend who is one of the tour guys for Saliva, they're coming to town soon, so I get to hang out with them again.
That's
so cool. When he tells me he'll be in town, if you're able to come up, we can all hang out.
Yeah.
Hells yeah.
I'm down.
Remember the first time I met them, the lead singer punched me right in the left boob. I'm not even exaggerating. Because my friend was touring with them. And I went to go see my friend, and obviously Saliva was the main attraction. So I hung out, and he took me backstage, and we were on the tour bus with them, and they were goofing around, and the lead singer went to go punch Ephraim, and I don't know if Ephraim moved or what happened, but he ended up nailing me like right in the poop.
Got you in the chest.
I remember looking down and looking at him. I was like, all right.
So that's how we're going to start this.
That's how we're going to start this. And then the next time I saw him, he's like, because he couldn't remember my name, obviously. And he goes, you were with you're with Ephraim. He's like, you're Ephraim's girl. And I was like, well, yeah, I was with Ephraim. he goes, yeah. And I was like, you remember punching me in the tit? He goes, did I do that? Really? I did that? Oh man, I'm sorry. I couldn't even remember.
Yeah. That's the life of a musician. It goes down.
And Uncle Wayne,
Yeah.
Uncle Way. They introduced me to Fireball.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hadn't had it before then.
Well, we had Hot Damn back in the day. That was like, everyone's like, Fireball. I'm like, dude, it's called Hot Damn. Like,
it was like one of the things I guess they had to have. But it was, yeah. That was Fireball night.
Oh, cinnamon. Horrible.
I liked it.
I can't do cinnamon. Like even regular like during Christmas time or not New Year's, but Thanksgiving, all the cinnamon stuff. Can't. Nope. Now every once in a while, if I get a wild hair in my ass, I'll freaking do like an apple pie. And I'm talking the store bought.
The apple pie moonshine?
No, just straight up apple pie.
like an actual. I thought we were talking about alcohol.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking about cinnamon in general. Like I can't do cinnamon.
Really, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I will sit there and eat the cinnamon Altoids like candy on the way home from work. I love cinnamon. I love cinnamon.
I can't do it. My ex-fiance one time, she was making she's like, oh yeah, I got this recipe from my mom for chicken and dumplings. And I guess like she thought it was like paprika or something.
And it was cinnamon.
But she put cinnamon in it. Yeah.
Oh.
Like she's like, this is gonna be the best you've ever had. I was like, oh, no. No. She's like, yeah. She's like, oh no, I messed it up. Like, yeah, you sure did. Because I love that stuff. Yeah.
We're having a whole discussion in the chat about their favorite vampire movies.
Favorite vampire movie.
So somebody mentioned 30 Days of Night, which is an awesome vampire movie. I really like 30 Days of Night.
Yeah, 30 Days of Night was good. Wasn't that with
Josh Hartnett?
What was the one? No, yeah, that is. But no, I'm thinking of the one with freaking
Near Dark.
Lou Diamond Phillips. Wasn't that Near Dark?
No, with Lou Diamond Phillips.
One with Lou Diamond Phillips there. Yeah, and they were like, because he did that one First Power, right? And where he was like trying to catch the Satanist dude. And then he did a vampire one.
I got to Google that.
Yeah,
I don't
unless
remember
I'm tripping.
I know John I liked John Carpenter's Vampires. Like for the time it came out, it was a good one. It's got nice gore to it.
I'm a Fright Night dude. That's one of my favorite ones.
I like Fright Night, and I like the remake too.
You did a good job on the remake.
Yeah.
On both of them, Fright Night and Fright Night 2. Yeah, they did a really good job.
No, not the second part. The remake that came out in like 2010.
No, that's what I mean. They did. There was a remake of both of them. Remake of Part 1 and Part 2. So there's a Fright Night 1 and 2 from the 80s, and then there's a Fright Night 1 and 2 from the 2010s.
Okay, so Lou Diamond Phillips did a vampire bat movie called Bats.
Bats, that's what it was.
It's Bats, dude.
It's Bats. Actually, Bats is, we'll get into this a little bit more tomorrow. I don't want to give too much away. But so I was going through the different genres of horror movies. And so like a lot of people think that the slasher genre really started with like 70 and 78 with Michael Myers. but then there's Black Christmas from '74.
Yeah.
But the one of the original slasher movies was called Bats, and it's from the '20s. And the very next slasher movie is called The Leopard Man from the '20s also. And so it's like
That's
1922 and 1924 or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to go, damn, dude, they went that far back. And then the Italians took it over, and it was called like Gianni Films. And it's basically the same movie. It's always like a non-professional investigator trying to find like a serial killer type of a thing.
Okay.
And they ran that all the way through the '70s.
Oh
But
yeah.
it started out like horror noir, you know, which is freaking dope. I love horror noir because just the way that the lighting and everything looks in it, it's a dope genre of film wise and production wise. I just really dig it. The Birds, yeah.
The Birds. That was filmed out like where I grew up. It was
Mhm.
filmed out around Bodega
You
Bay.
told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was in that movie the other day because I parked underneath a billboard at work, and I came out and it looks like The Birds. Get it all over my car.
I remember coming out because when I worked at this one for this one private jeweler, we had to park. There was a 2-story parking garage, and we had to park on the top story. And I remember coming out one night, and there were nothing but grackles everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh,
It
God.
did look like The Birds. That was freaky.
Yeah. Liz Pink Feather says Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Actually, I don't know if it's in here or not. No, I think it's in my other room. But yeah, we had a Killer Clowns from Outer Space reunion, and I got all of them to sign the whole, like the big Killer Clowns from Outer Space banner. And they're actually, it's pretty surreal when you find yourself sitting there doing shots with the Killer Clowns from Outer Space clowns. You're like, Shorty's like literally, this tall. The little short dude is like, put him up. He knocks his block off. Yeah.
I think I've only seen that movie once. I didn't like it.
What?
I know. It's very poor of me to not like Killer Clowns. Like I am in the minority. Just like I'm in the minority, I don't like Kubrick's Shining. That'll get me chased out of town with pitchforks and
that's
torches.
because but that's because it doesn't have. It's so far away from the book, so you can't.
Far away.
Yeah. So I agree with you on that. Like,
and I mean, Jack Nicholson is a borderline abusive man anyway, so it's not a far stretch to like see him snapping and trying to kill his whole family. I was like, I see that coming when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, that and whenever you get older, and when he's talking to the interviewer in the beginning, he's also how did you call it, a PDF file?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, because he's like, I didn't know she was 15. Could you tell me you would have turned that down? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like who?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, if you're only old enough to make babysitting money, you have no business in that game. That's all there is to it. But yeah, so for everybody in here, Monday, we're gonna do a whole 80s, 90s, and 70s horror movie genre. We're basically gonna stick to the 80s, but it's going to be a day drinking show. What time do you think we should do that?
How long is it going to run? How long do you think we'll run? I need to know that before I can like.
Let's aim for like a 3-hour mark, just because if we're gonna have multiple
3-hour show.
A 3-hour show.
It was the 3 hour
Um,
tour. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm thinking if we're gonna have like say we have 5 guests and we do 20 minutes or 30 minutes a guest. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So that's kind of what we're looking at. You know,
So 3
that's
hours.
my ideal. Um, so I was thinking like maybe like 3 to 6ish or something like that.
I think that's good. 3 to 6 is fine.
Okay.
We'll set that up. Set that up.
Right on.
Um,
Yeah, we'll plan for that. And
do you want me to send you a graphic for it to post on to make your
sure.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
so let's take a moment and let's walk through you setting up wrenches because we can do this real fast because it won't let me do it.
Okay. Oh, you mean I got to switch over to my phone and stuff? Well, I can do that afterward.
Yeah, we can do it afterwards. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But think about who you
Yeah.
want, and I'll walk you through it because it's pretty simple.
I already got an idea.
And then I'll create the graphics for it, and you can. I'll send it over to you in Messenger, and then you can, when you're creating your StreamYard, you can just drop that thumbnail in there.
Right on. Hell yeah.
Hells yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we're like out on the island right now.
I sent you a video about little people.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you watch it?
Actually, I did. And if you let it keep going and let the algorithm take you away, it got into some pretty weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like there was this dude named like John Johnson, and he was like, I forgot, he was like a professional Indian killer.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It's the same channel, and he was. That was bull. Like I was getting annoyed listening to that. By the time I ran into that story, like I was already like pulling into the parking lot at work. I was like, that guy's full of shit. Those are some made up stories. Just give me a tomahawk and have them all surround me, and we'll fight to the death, and whoever wins wins, man. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it got into some wild.
Yeah,
shit.
Slim Shady, we'll do that. I'm sure you'll come out on top.
Dude, have you ever read Blood Meridian? That's I forgot the dude's name. I know it, but it's just slipping my nugget at the moment. But he's the same dude that wrote No Country for Old Men.
No, I haven't read it.
Michael McCormick. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. Something McCormick. And yeah, dude, you gotta check that out. It's really freaking weird.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that I have, because, I listen to Audible. I have a ton of audiobooks because of my commute. And I have 2 books that I downloaded recently, and I'm only about a quarter of the way through each of them. But they're short horror stories written by Indigenous authors. And they're all Indigenous themed. Like short horror stories. That's really cool. And then I don't know if you saw this. Have
you ever listened to the band Indigenous?
I don't know. It sounds familiar.
Dude, it's they're all brothers and sisters, and they're all natives, of course, but it's dude, like you would swear you're listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan that you never heard before.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it's
that's cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
No. I was gonna say, I don't know if you saw, like, if you have is it Chiller? The horror movie channel. Chiller.
Oh, anyway. No, I got Shudder.
Shudder. That's it. Shudder. So there was. Did you see Blood Quantum?
No, I haven't.
So it's an indigenous zombie movie, and it's where there's a zombie breakout, and only indigenous people are immune, and it depends on your blood quantum as to how immune.
Nice.
Right?
So like they can get bit and it doesn't bother them, or
Yeah.
huh?
Like if yeah, and I don't remember. I mean, you know what blood quantum is, right? It's
No,
what
I
your
mean I can
percentage.
take an
It's like how much
educated guess.
native blood you have
Right,
in you,
right,
right?
right.
And
Yeah,
it depends on like how much like when you get like gets divvied out if you're getting like royalties and if you're allowed to get the benefits, the government benefits, that kind of thing.
right, right. No, that uh what is it? Blood Meridian. So this dude has a really weird style of writing.
Yeah,
So
cool.
I'll put it to you like this way. So the intro to the whole thing is like everybody's this is takes place during the Mexican Indian Wars and so 1800s, So there's this dude, he's the main character, he's called the Kid, and he's like a 14, 15-year-old kid that runs away from home in Oklahoma, ends up in Texas, and he shows up to this town, and it's a church service, right? So everyone's at church and they're chilling there, and the preacher is giving his sermon, and this dude walks in, and he's huge. He's like 7 foot something. He's completely bald, like, and the way it describes it, he has a baby's face. It looks like a face of a baby. Has really small hands and really small feet, but he's a huge dude. And he comes into the church, and he's like, yeah, I'm here to collect the bounty on the preacher. And they're like, everyone's kind of like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's known in Kentucky and Arkansas for, you know, essay, and the murder of little girls and blah blah blah. Like he assaults them and then murders them.
Mm-hmm.
And the preacher's like, no way, dude. He's like, no, 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 I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, yeah, I bet he started kind of like on Django. He's like, I bet he started here September of last year sometime, because that's whenever he
Mm-hmm.
left freaking Arkansas, yada, yada, yada. And he just riles up the crowd so hard. And he's like, he's a wanted man. Y'all are listening to someone preach to you about God, but he's a wanted man for all these evil, acts. And one of the guys that he's like, oh hell no, so he like busts out his pistol and guns the preacher down right there. And
Dang.
so yeah, so like after all the commotion stops, everyone's like, all right, well, let's go to the saloon, hang out. And they see that dude, the big giant baby faced guy with small hands and small feet, and he's at the bar and he's drinking either beer or tequila or something like that. But he's at the bar drinking, and a couple of the dudes go up to him and they're like, okay, so like how how do you know about this dude? Is there like a bounty on him? Whatever, blah blah blah. And he's like, never seen the dude in my life. I don't even know. Like, I just did it for fun. Like basically had just riled the crowd up and had the dude executed just for
Dude.
shits and giggles. Yeah. And there's like a bunch of other weird stuff with him. He's almost basically like the devil incarnate in the book, because he does a bunch of weird, like, they'll be all like sitting out there like in the middle of Texas because they're fighting with the Mexican army, and they're fighting the Indians as well. And they'll be all like, almost out of water, way out in freaking West Texas. And
Okay.
like he'll show up with like, like a young, like 14-year-old boy, completely, clothless, on a leash, walking him like a
What?
dog. Yeah. And it'll be like, yeah, I lost my hat a couple towns back. I'll give you $200 for your hat. But his head's so big that he has to like slice the back and like kind of like just sombrero it. You know what I mean? Very, very weird book. But
So, yeah, I just looked it
yeah,
up. Is it by McCormick
Cormac
McCarthy?
McCarthy. Yeah, Cormac McCarthy.
Okay, so it says it's a violent frontier tale. Tells the story of a 14-year-old boy who joins a gang of outlaws hunting Native Americans along the U.S.-Mexico border in the 1840s.
Yep.
Okay, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's
I mean, I'm reading like little like excerpts, and that's like a heavy book. That's a heavy book, y'all. That is
yeah.
not a light read.
No, it's not. It's not. But they have it on. They do have it audiobook style on YouTube, so
Okay.
you can literally pop it in. But it's yeah, and yes, Amy, that's Blood Meridian. But all of his stuff is weird like that. Cormac McCarthy is as an author, you know, he didn't have that many books, but like The Road is another really good one.
Yeah, The Road is savage.
You know that? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't with those kind. Like, I have a really hard time with books that like show any kind of abuse towards like kids. Because
Yeah.
I get I can't watch movies like that, and I can't read books like that. Like, it's something that I can't do. Like in animals, like if there's a lot of animal abuse, I can't.
Right.
You know.
No, yeah.
I remember the first book I read that made me cry, like, because I get into books, like it's almost like a movie, right? It's suspension of disbelief. You are just involved in that book, like you're living it. And the first book that ever like really got to me was, gosh, I was in like 9th grade or 10th grade, and I had to read Of Mice and Men.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was the first book that like made me like bawl, like just wormed its way in my head. Like, but it got me hooked on reading. I mean, I like to read like Stephen King and stuff like that, but I mean, it got me into like beyond horror books.
Yeah, I remember 6th grade of Mice and Men and Paradise Lost was the two mandatory books that you had to read over the summer. And I was like, I'm not reading over the summer.
In 6th grade?
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's
I was like,
traumatic.
Ski guys, I'm going home.
I'm like 9th grade. Yeah. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But someone asked earlier what the scariest horror movies, you know, as a child, I guess. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like, to me, like The Exorcist was scary as hell, you know, but I remember the first movie that made me physically like ill and sick was the original Last House on the Left.
Oh,
like,
that's bad. That's bad.
I can't do
I can't believe Carpenter did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Carpenter. Well, it's actually a Carpenter and a Wes Craven.
Craven, yeah. Well, yeah. Craven, I see. Okay, so if you want to read some effed up stories, read the Books of Blood. I couldn't get through the Books of Blood. There.
Who's that by? That's a Wes Craven flick, or
yeah.
Is it a
no,
book?
No. It's not a flick. It's a book. They're books. Hold on. I think it is. Who wrote that? Clive Barker.
Oh, Clive Barker. Yeah, I like his
Clive Barker's Books of Blood. I couldn't get through them.
I like his writing style.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are entertaining. Some of them are like, oh yeah. Some of them are like, holy.
Right.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. No, I bet if my brother Jake was still here, he'd know exactly what you're talking about, because he's a Clive Barker freaking fiend.
Yeah, I mean, Clive Barker. I mean, Into the Mouth of Madness, right? I think he did Into the Mouth of Madness, which is very Lovecraftian and just a complete mind screw.
Yeah.
And
Like my last week.
yeah, exactly. Only darker.
Only darker.
Then you got Hellraiser, right? That's Clive Barker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was the part 1 and part 2 was originally the hell or the Hellbound Heart.
yeah.
So it's like kind of like The Godfather. It was originally written as one single book, but it was so detailed they divvied it up into 2 parts.
Yeah. And I remember Hellraiser freaked me out. It did freak me out when it first came out because just the thought of accidentally opening a portal like you don't mean to, like you're just jacking around with something and suddenly the freaking walls disappear and chains shoot out at you. The hell?
That was
That's a hard
Tuesday
path.
night.
That's a hard path. You can keep your box, Marshawn.
Yeah, no, I when I was a kid, Hellraiser wasn't that. I was just like, yeah, it's all right. Like,
see, and I was
didn't
like that
get
with
it.
The Exorcist. The Exorcist did not scare me at all.
Exorcist got me because my mom and my soon-to-be stepdad or whatever, because this is back when we were latchkey kids and all that. They went on a date and they like left me at the house, by myself.
That's a normal Wednesday night for me as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Alone in the house.
So, yeah, but there was 2 movies that freaked me out back then, and one I kind of feel ashamed for nowadays because of the way it freaked me out. But
well, you were a kid.
It was The Exorcist and Mask. Remember the movie with Cher and
it freaked my friend out too.
Yeah. I was like, because I remember my cousin would hang out with me, and I'd literally stand behind the TV and change the channel. And I'm like, is it Mask? And he's like, no, dude, you're good. And I'm gonna come around like, I can't do it. The Rocky Dennis mug. Just
see, my friend was freaked out by his appearance, but then in the same time, she was really sad that he died at the end. Right. She was like, he freaked me out, but I cried at the end because he died. Like I guess she was crying more for his mother's reaction to it, I think.
Yeah, I can dig that. But yeah, I always thought that the ending on that and Elephant Man was basically the same, same thing.
Same disease.
Yeah. Well, but it's the lying on your back. And now it's like a very real thing because people get sleep apnea. You know what I mean? You lay on your back and you freaking fall asleep and never wake up because I got sleep apnea really bad. So I'll wake up to Jen going, ribbing me, and I'm like, all right, man, roll over on my side. I'm like, yeah. Because if I'm laying on my back, I'm like,
you just stop breathing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like I don't know how you'd call it, like a perpetual fear as you get older, because those kind of things really do exist in life. But yeah, so that's the reason why The Exorcist got me. And I grew up very religious. So my time got spent between my grandmothers on my dad's side and my grandmothers on my mom's side. One was grandmother on my mom's side, hardcore Catholic, like had pictures of Pope John Paul II all in her house. And my grandmother on my dad's side was Baptist and Southern Baptist at that. So everything you did, everything you did, you're going to hell.
Go to hell and you die.
You go to hell, you die. Yeah. So
that is one little nugget of wisdom my grandmother imparted on me when I moved here when I was 19. When they figured out they couldn't talk me out of moving to Texas because they tried everything to talk me out of it. One of the last things my grandmother said to me before I moved was, be careful, sissy. And remember, don't trust a Southern Baptist. She was very adamant about that. I don't know what they did to her, but she sure did not like that.
Right. No, they're a trip, man. I ain't gonna front. And so if you know Austin area, so my Southern Baptist grandmother, she lived out in Lakeway, which is like really, like I said, my cousin grew up. Basically, she adopted my cousin, and so they were like she had a freaking convertible when she was 16 years old, a moped
Nice.
at 15. You know, like they were well off, and so they lived in Lakeway, which is a very economically sound part of Austin. And so yeah, so like I'd go out there and they'd go to the beautiful church on top of this big hill overlooking like Lake Travis and Mansfield Dam, and
Nice.
and then and then I'd go to like my other grandma's, and it's like in the freaking barrio in the hood on off of Old Torf and freaking Congress, and like so it was very.
They didn't lock the doors and start like flopping around on the floor, did they?
No, I don't. No, but they tried to. It was weird because they tried to baptize me in both different directions because I was baptized Catholic.
Well, you're double saved then.
Yeah, but I refused to get baptized from Baptist because, and okay, to me it was just like, I don't know, it was like watching the richies versus the poor folk. Like this one church is full of white, predominantly white, upper middle class, if not rich people. And on the Catholic side, it was, lower income, mostly Hispanic, type of people. So I always felt more comfortable, because like I'd go to the Baptist side and like all the kids are making fun of me for what I'm wearing because I'm not rich, So yeah. I'm wearing rags and they're like, blah, blah, blah. Hey, look at him. Look at the way he's dressed. But when I go to my other grandma's church, everyone don't really care. But it was a lot of this weird Latin, I can play when you can.
Hey, I like listening to Mass and that. Like if I'm going to be told all the different ways I'm going to hell, I don't need to understand what they're saying to me. And it's kind of a melodic language. It's nice to listen to. I like Latin Mass.
Yeah, and so to me it was just it was really weird. Liz said family dinners must have been. No, my family never mixed. They stayed on one side and the others stayed on the other. There was no. They were not trying to have anything to do with each other. That's for damn sure. But yeah, so I don't know how we got down that freaking road. Started with blood meridian and ended up with Reese's childhood religions.
Religious trauma.
Religious trauma, right? But that's why I love these shows. They go anywhere and everywhere. Always. They
go all over. It's fun.
Yep. At the same time.
I'm trying to think what else. What else can we just throw into the pot?
Put it in the pot, mix it up.
Just a little gumbo. What a dichotomy. Yeah. See, I was raised with none of it.
No?
No. Sure. I mean, every now and then I would go to church with my friend's family that lived across the street, but I always felt weird because I wasn't like, I didn't understand. I mean, I understood it, I got it, but like I wasn't raised in any particular religion and I didn't know, like, I didn't know all these people. I didn't go every Sunday like my friend did. So I was like the odd man out. It was like, bring your heathen friend to church day or something. And I'm just like, I'm the show and tell piece. So, and I'd go to like Sunday school with my cousins in the summer. And that was interesting because they lived, I don't know how rural it is now because everything's grown up so much. But back in the day, Looking Glass, Oregon was at a T in a road. I mean, there was like the general store, the elementary school, and I think the general store had the post office in it. There was the little tiny like clapboard church with the graveyard around it. And that was about it. Then you had Wagon Wheel Road that stretches way that hell into the mountains. And that's what my cousins lived off of. And I would go to Sunday school with them. And I did kind of enjoy that. I did not enjoy getting up early. I thought that was stupid. I was like, how come you have to get up early to pray? Can't you pray like later in the afternoon? Why does it have to be at 7 a.m.? I don't understand. Like, where in the Bible does it say I have to get up at 6 a.m. to be there at 7 a.m.?
Right. Yeah.
And but yeah, outside of those little trips to various churches, I was not raised with anything in particular. Now, when I was born, I was baptized Catholic because my mother is definitely
I think
Catholic.
everyone at our age was baptized.
I guess. Well, I mean, my mother's whole family was like super Catholic. My mom floats in and out of being like almost zealot-like with her religiousness, but she didn't raise me. Like, she was not like a big figure in my life growing up.
Right.
And my father, I've said this before, like my father was just like, I'm not going to tell you what to believe, because when you get old enough, you check all of them out and you figure out which one lines up with you the best, which one you buy into the most. And if you don't buy into any of them, that's fine too, because he sure didn't. And he said, you make your own decision. But I remember in high school and immediately after like the first semester in college, I had a boyfriend that, I think I've told you this, Joe. I really did think I was going to marry this guy. Like, I was convinced I was going to marry this guy. And he and his family were like super Catholic. And I was like, I have to get married in the church. And I've never had communion. I don't know any of this crap. And so I started like trying to ease my way into the Catholic Church because I was like, I don't know how. Like, I tried to buy my way into like the courses, like whatever you have to do to get communion and all of that. And they're like, no, lady, you can't just hand us money. You have to like actually come to the church.
Yeah, you got to go through it.
Yeah, so I ended up like going to Saturday night mass because I still didn't want to get up at like 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And so I was trying to ease into it out there in Santa Rosa. Yeah, going to Saturday night mass. I talked one of my friends into going with me. And we were well on our way in there. And then, things ended up falling apart and I ended up moving to Texas. And I was like,
and here you are.
And here I am. Really not anything. I suppose I align mostly with Catholicism. If I have to pick one, it would probably be Catholicism.
Yeah. I'm not. I've been through freaking so many religions. Like, my mom and my stepdad, who I call my pops, they went through so many different religions. Like, I was involved in Catholicism, Southern Baptist, Methodist, Pentecostal, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, freaking like, and then as I got older in my late teens, hardcore like unorthodox Jews, Messianic Judaism. So like I just got dragged across the freaking board. Well,
that's a good like rounded experience, though. It gives you all of it. See, and when I looked into everything, all it made me do is just really despise any organized religion.
I think that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because, because I don't buy the organization of religion. You know, I buy that it's a personal connection with you and the Creator. You know,
Yeah.
through Christ. You know, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I don't at all believe, like, again, that you have to go to a church to do that.
no. Well,
Because
I
I
mean,
believe in like stigma. I mean, I hate to reference movies for like something that is a fairly
stigmata.
serious topic, but the stigmata where the church is trying to suppress, this message
Yeah.
saying, you don't have to go to church. Like, I am everywhere. I am in nature, right? Turn a stone and I
Right.
am there. Split a log and you'll find me. Like,
Right.
I am everywhere. Like, the earth is my church. Like,
Right.
and I 100% believe that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, even in Matthew, when Christ is talking about um how to pray to God, he's like, don't pray with the masses. Don't sit there
Yeah.
and at the um you know at um, at the church, and don't pray with the masses. What you do is you have your own little room, go into your closet, and it's because it's a personal connection between you
You
and
don't
the
even have to
Creator.
do that. You can do it while you're driving down the highway.
Well, yeah, exactly. But what he's getting at is it's not like it's a point where you got to go and you actually got to
Sit
go to
with
the
the
temple
Yeah.
and and show up, because if people look at you and they go, "Oh, I guess you missed last week," then you get judgment and all the bullshit. But
Right.
it's really it comes down to where it's a one-on-one thing,
It
and
is.
not a yeah.
I mean, like I do every night, like as I'm going to sleep, I say prayers at night. I do. Like, I am not a religious person at all, but
Right.
you have a relationship with the creator, right?
Right. Well,
And
there's a difference between religion and spiritualism.
yeah. But I mean,
Spiritual.
spiritualism is kind of vague too because demons are spiritual.
Yeah, yeah,
To quote that
yeah,
meme. So, yeah, just
yeah. I
define it a
guess,
little more.
yeah. Like Amy's saying, it's a private relationship, not a public display.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just like I told
exactly.
you guys, like, standing in church doesn't make you, you know,
No,
religious.
dude.
Or that
Some of the
standing in the garage makes you a Cadillac.
right. Yeah, I'm a mechanic. I
Yeah.
drink beer in the garage. No, but I actually got kicked out of a church once, like literally kicked out. And I was like, I want
I've
to say
never been kicked out of
15.
anything.
I was like 15 years old, and I went to church with one of my best friends and his mom, and this is in on 183 and I-35, and they had like one of those. I don't know what you call it, kind of like the Joel Osteen, but not near as big, but like a kind of like a super mega church. It was like a building
Right.
where it's just and so I went in there and I was wearing a Jimi Hendrix t-shirt, and they were selling t-shirts at inside the church, and some kid, he was probably he was probably older, a couple years older than me, and he's like, hey man, you want to buy a shirt? And I was like, no, I'm good. And he's like, whoa, you sure could use one, because like looking at my shirt, like that's, I don't know, blasphemy or whatever. But and I remember something, and I was being sarcastic as shit. I was like, I remember something in the Bible about people changing money inside of the temple and Jesus getting upset over it. Oh, that's exactly what you're doing. Like, I was like, oh, that's exactly what you're doing. And then I
Mhm.
walked off, and went into, I guess, mass or whatever you call it. And about 15 minutes into it, I got tapped on the shoulder. Some some old man was like, you need to come with me. You need to go. I was like,
Excuse me.
yeah, I was like, what? I'm getting kicked out of church for pointing out that y'all are changing money in church for freaking merchandise. you know, yeah. So I had to sit outside and wait outside for like
That's
45
ridiculous.
minutes.
That makes me so mad. That makes me mad.
Yeah, yeah. But that's when I was like disenchanted by, like officially
Sure.
disenchanted. I was like, you know what, F y'all. And then whenever like the because that was right around the time. Well, actually it started before it, but when the big super preachers started kicking in. I remember that dude that was like, "I'm so sorry," slept with the hooker or whatever, and then what was the
Dude, that's
Tammy
so many
Faye?
of them. Like,
Yeah, Tammy Faye Baker and all that
yeah.
started falling off, and I was like, yeah, nah.
I mean, I will say that for probably like a 6-month period, I got roped into Joel Osteen because he's a good motivational speaker. He's a good motivational speaker, right? But I mean, not to the point of like attending anything or like buying anything, but I mean, just listening to them talk, I see how like people could get roped into it, like
Yeah,
tightly bound to that, and especially people that are looking for salvation or they're looking to belong to something.
yeah. No, it like so. Right before I got sent to a treatment facility, I my parents sent me to like I guess it was a religious school. It was like K through 12, so you could go your whole life there. But it was a private school, but it was a Christian school, and they sent us on like a field trip to this. It was so freaking weird. It was like called the Power Team or something, and it was like all these big, strong, freaking steroided up dudes, looked like wrestlers, and they were like, it was like a show you went to. I think it was at the Frank Irwin Center or something, and they would rip like phone books, and they're like, with the power of God, we'll rip this phone book in half. And I was like, dude, this is a freaking circus, dude. Like, what?
Okay, so my first husband's mother, so my mother-in-law, who I loved, right? I loved his family. I just couldn't stand that man. But anyway, she was this very sweet, she was a school teacher. She was a very sweet, not really outspoken woman, right? She looked like Peggy Hill, I shit you not. She looked exactly like Peggy Hill. And glasses and everything, like hairdo, glasses, everything. She looked like Peggy Hill. But she went to visit her brother in Maryland, right? And he was away on assignment, and she was with her sister-in-law, who was, anytime I had been around this woman, she was very quiet, very timid, very 1950s, like librarian, like short, like curled hair stuck to her head and like horn rimmed glasses. I mean, that's how I remember it. Like kind of sickly, scrawny looking and kind of timid, right? Mousy, real timid.
Right.
Well, anyway, my mother-in-law is visiting. Her sister-in-law is apparently quite religious, but it's not like, Catholicism or Mormon even, which is another weird one to me. It's, I don't know, just shy of snake handling, apparently. So she's like, we got to go to church. And she's like, okay. So she goes to church with her, and they roll up on this very simple little, one-room church in BFE, Maryland, I suppose. And she goes, we're in the pews, and and she said when they started the service, the attendants locked the doors. And I was like, that would be my cue to crawl out a window.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I would not have stuck around for the show.
Isn't that a fire hazard?
It is. It's very much a fire hazard. I mean, I don't know about back then, but anyway, she's telling the story that, they start preaching, and it's the, the old like fire and brimstone, like what you said, like ripping the books and, power in me, and people are jiggling around, talking in tongues, rolling around on the floor. And my sweet mother-in-law, who is, not Mormon, it starts with an M, Methodist. Right. Is very, very refined, very prim and proper Methodist woman, is watching these people like fall out all around her, and the doors are locked. And her sister-in-law, who is this mousy little like librarian looking chick who doesn't say boo to anything, is like waving her hands in the air and just la 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 la, like just gibberish like coming out of her mouth. And my mother-in-law said, I just sat there in the corner and watched all of this go down, and people are trying to save her, and they're laying hands on everyone, and we're gonna, I'm gonna pull out the sickness in you, I'm gonna heal you, bam. But people believe it. I mean, I hate to laugh at something that people take very seriously and believe in, but
no, I don't.
Good gravy. Good gravy. Well, I mean, people laugh at us for believing in the things that we believe in. So,
well, yeah. They're like, Bigfoot, you crazy, flat Earth. Yeah. Even Monica's like, flat Earth. Yeah, no. Breeze is crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. But, I mean, so I looked at your flat Earth flight maps, and I was like, okay, I'll say that makes sense. I'm not going as far as to say we're surrounded by an ice wall, and that all of the planets in the solar system are just an illusion. I'm not going there.
They're reflections from the seventh heavens.
Okay. We're sending.
No, I really, honestly,
the fifth heaven.
Honestly, I don't know what they are, but I don't believe the narrative of what people say they are.
Right.
Like, I just don't buy it. I don't buy that the moon is 250,000 miles away. I just don't, because you can zoom in on it with a freaking Nikon camera and you can see massive detail. I can't go to the beach in, South Padre and zoom in on Mexico.
Yeah, because curve of the earth.
No.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
That is how that works.
Because there are certain things that you can that are beyond the curve, but I just don't, because when people think flat Earth, they think completely flat. They don't take in topography. So yes, there are hills, there are mountains, there are stuff that's going to come in between. But as far as the curve goes, I just don't buy it. Me personally, but that's not saying that I'm like, I know exactly what that is, because, it's just like any of these things. It's like, whether it's cryptids or whether it's Mothman or, something like that, mm-hmm. You're really just going on, unless you've seen it yourself, then it's not a definite knowing of it. It's an ideology of it. It's taking other people's accounts and mm-hmm. mixing them up in a bowl and going, okay, well, like if Egyptians had Dogman and Native Americans did, and people up in Upper Russia did, and well, then so yeah, I'm starting to culminate a mm-hmm. Like a commonality. So, and then these people it's too ancient for them to be talking to each other. There's no internet. So, it makes you go, wait a minute. But like I was saying, like, I was watching that interview with that lady. She's like 100 and 6 years old or something like that. And they were interviewing her about it. And she was like, yeah, when we went to school, she was like, that's the earth is flat. Like, that's how they taught us. So then you go, oh, well, that's way back in the day. But no, but like the, the globular earth for globers, that happened, that became a big thing in the 1400s because
Yeah.
everyone said that, Chris Columbus was going to sail off the edge of the earth, and he was like, nah, circumnavigated the globe. And then what was his name? Uh, the dude, Magellan, who first
Yeah.
circumnavigated the globe. Right. So then they go, no, it's actually a thing. So in modern education, why would you teach something as ancient as not just hundreds of years, but damn near 1,000 years ago? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a weird one. And yeah, exactly, Liz. I don't know if it's actually flat like they say it is, but I do not when I'm looking at NASA and stuff like that, and like, have you seen that video where the mouse is running around outside of the space station?
Mm-mm.
You haven't seen that one? Like,
Mm-mm.
yeah, check it out, or watch the original 1966. The very you Google it or YouTube it, like CBS 1966 first spacewalk. Like, it is the fakest shit you've ever seen, and it's just ridiculous. And it's like, okay, so this $1 billion company that's extracting money from the government for billions and billions of dollars to send people to the moon or whatever. To me, it goes back more to um you know like money phasing. It's they're not really doing it, they're making it up, and they're putting money into maybe black ops or secret ops or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so whenever I'm being lied to by the people I'm supposed to be trusting, it makes me question the entire narrative of it. And that's why I just don't buy it. That, and there's this dude, oddly enough, and I think this is one of those hiding in plain sights. Admiral Picard, like Captain Picard from Star Trek, right? He was the first dude that took like a giant helium balloon up into space. And that's exactly how he described it. He described it as a flat plate, that was completely, held in by the ice walls. He's like, yeah, Antarctica is not a introverted thing; it's an extroverted thing. And as soon as we got it, so and that's like the first dude to see it, and then they're quickly like, shut the fuck up, Admiral Byrd, the same thing. When he took the big expedition down to Antarctica, he came back saying that no, like there's another continent on the other side of that freaking giant ice wall. So that opens up this, which I personally don't buy, but the fact that we're a flat Earth, but once you get past the ice walls, there's other continents and other pieces out there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole theory that if you look at the moon, you can actually see our little section in it. Like, you can see America, you can see Africa, you can see Europe, Eurasia, whole 9 yards. And then outside of it, there's a whole nother section of it. Like, it's only like 1/3 of the map, so to speak. So I don't know. I think it's very interesting, and I don't trust the narrative of the government. So it makes me go, things that
Okay.
make you go,
I
Yeah.
mean, everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
but you know what it really is?
What?
The world isn't flat and the world isn't a globe. The world is a vampire.
Sent to drain. Secret destroyer. That's right.
Dude, when that song came out, I knew like everybody I knew could not figure out what he was saying is when it came to the um still just a rat in a cage. Like
Despite all my rage,
I'm
still just a
still
rat
just
in
a
a
rat
cage.
in a cage. Like
Yeah.
no one knew what the word.
Someone
Everyone
will
was like,
say what is lost can never be saved,
yeah,
despite all
like
my rage. How can you not understand that? That's pretty
dude, no one did.
plainly
Like
spoken.
I remember back then, like they were like, "Am I rattling a cage?" Like I'm just a
What?
rattle in a cage,
A
yeah.
rat in a cage.
Yeah, no one
I'm
did.
terrible at understanding lyrics, and I caught that the first
Yeah,
go around.
I couldn't hear it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck he's saying. I have no clue.
I was listening to that the other day.
Yeah, dude.
That and
Oh,
Zero. I love Zero.
Zero. I opened up for Zero. Yeah,
No, the
I
song
missed that.
Zero.
Oh no,
Smashing Pumpkins Zero.
Passing Schmumpkins. Um, dang, I was gonna say something very interesting.
Oh, sorry.
No, it wasn't you. It was me. I got off on my own tangent. Maybe it was something up here.
Let's see. Yeah, it's completely Monica sang faster than I can type, like old job,
Oh,
1970.
that's what it was. So I've done this twice in my life, and I will publicly admit it, and I don't care. So remember when today is the greatest day of my
Yeah.
right? When that
Today
video,
is the great, yeah, day I've ever known. Yeah.
yeah, when that video came out, I I like totally had the hugest crush on the Asian chick that was in a dress for like years. Like I did inappropriate things alone.
To the
Then
Asian
I
chick.
found out,
Yeah.
yeah. Then I found out after the next album came out
Oh my
that wasn't a
gosh.
chick at all, and
Um,
I was so distraught.
um, so I had, and this isn't like, it's nothing like your story. I just, speaking of like bands, like old bands and having crush on people, I had the biggest crush on, so you know the band Everclear,
Yeah,
their original guitarist Montoya. I had the
okay.
biggest crush on that dude. And I don't know what happened to him. He just kind of like wandered off into the freaking great blue beyond. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing.
Aren't they touring again?
Yeah, but he's
Or
not
no,
with them anymore.
he's not with them, right? Yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah, no. And that one and the other one, I hate to say it, I feel so stupid, but RuPaul. Like before I found out RuPaul is a drag queen, I thought she was like one of the hottest
You
chicks in
didn't
the world.
know that was a
No,
dude, dude.
like I was smoking a lot of bud back
Oh
then, and I
man,
was just like, I was like, dude, that chick's hot as
I'm just gonna
hell.
tell you to beware in some cities. Like,
Yeah, I just have no business. I just have no business.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
just, yeah. I
See, I
just
don't
kind
know.
of
I got
ride
a thing for guitar players. Like, I never go for the lead singer. I always like the guitar players.
I got a guitar. I play it every once in a while. Yeah.
I tried to learn how to play. I got fat fingers. I'm like, how can dudes with hands bigger than me like
That's what
do
makes it
that?
easier. Like it
No way.
really
Like I
does.
couldn't. Like I
Yeah.
can't get my fingers like because obviously I don't know how to play guitar. I have to learn somewhere. I'm doing like chords, right? And I can't hold my fingers on the right strings between the
Yeah.
fret.
It's
My I
almost
don't
like you
like.
get arthritis about it. Like
Yeah.
that's my problem, especially with acoustics. Like my acoustic bass, like if I have my electric bass, like I can play anything by ear. Like
Right.
Sublime, throw it at me, and I'm like, "Do." But my acoustic, you got to spread it out so hard. I'm like,
Right.
ow,
Well,
oh,
I mean,
yeah,
like I can like I got a decent spread, right? And I'm double jointed. So I mean, obviously I can't play with fingernails, but you know, you can cut them off and I can't because it's like put three fingers on these three strings between these two
right,
frets. And I'm like, I can't do that.
yeah, yeah.
How was some dude with ham hands doing that? I want to
I got the man hand. No, it's and it depends on what what genre you're playing also, because
Right.
like metal's freaking easy. It's power chords, so you're do. You
Hmm.
don't even really move other than a couple. But like if you get into like rockabilly, like
Yeah. I love
Stray
rockabilly.
Cats, yeah, then it's it's very very on point and intricate. You have to hit each fret home just right, you
Sure.
know, because they're using like I don't remember what the hell it's called. Jen would know, but like the stand up, like the oboe bass or whatever.
Oh, it's just a bass. Yeah.
Yeah, they're using pretty much that kind of a style of playing. So it's
Mm. See, I like that. I like fiddle too. I love fiddle. Love fiddle.
fiddle.
I love fiddle. I love bluegrass. Love bluegrass. And I love fiddle. And you get somebody in there that's really knows how to play the fiddle. I love listening to it.
So you mean like violin, but southern fiddle style,
Well, I
right?
don't care so much for classical violin. I like a Charlie Daniels fiddle.
Right.
Yeah.
You know who's badass oh no, wait, never mind. That's banjo. Fuck, never mind. Steve Martin is badass at bluegrass. The comedian.
Who?
Steve
Oh yeah,
Martin.
he plays a
Yeah.
banjo.
Yeah. And there's so I remember I got into it back in the Gap. There's some little small bluegrass town, and a dude was driving through it like he was like a rocker, if I remember the story correctly. And him and his girlfriend, they crashed their car and were both deceased.
Hmm.
But they found their music collection and they found AC/DC.
Hmm.
So they ended up creating a bluegrass band called Hayseed Dixie, I want to believe.
Okay.
And they do all AC/DC covers, but bluegrass style.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's
I'll
freaking
have to
dope.
check that out. I love that.
Yeah,
I love blue.
Hayseed,
Oh man, I love
yeah,
bluegrass.
Hayseed Dixie. I think that's the name of it.
It reminds me of my great grandparents and my grandparents because I was
Yeah,
fortunate enough to know my great grandparents.
I did a little bit. Yeah, I think great grandma and Pancha, they were in the same nursing home when I was a kid. That was when I first discovered Mr. Pibb because yeah, they had a vending machine that had a Mr. Pibb, and I was like, "What's Mr. Pibb?"
What that?
It's like
I
Dr.
used to
Pepper.
like RC Cola.
RC, yeah.
Yeah, I liked RC.
I was like not even 10 years younger than I am right now, and I realized that RC Cola stands for Royal Crown Cola. Like I had no idea. and I was watching Stand By Me, you know, and there's a Royal Crown Cola when he goes to go buy the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, how did I never catch that when I was younger? Shit, wow.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Got a lot in my head. Throw something at me.
Well, I mean, we are on the 2-hour mark.
Are we? We sure are. Look at that.
Yeah. But okay, so let's shoot by the hip, maybe 3 to 6 Monday. You get your posse together, and I'll get mine.
See if anybody wants to join.
See if they want to join.
There's some partying people in that posse, so I'm not sure who all will be wanting to come on.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I'm shooting it later afternoon, because so Sunday I get off work. The Roy and Lisa, that they own the gas station and they do the cult classics and all these events and stuff. They're so Roy invited me over. He's like, dude, I'm gonna buy some, they're wealthy individuals. And he's like, I'm gonna buy some badass fucking scotch, like some double malt scotch from back in the day, and get some fine cigars, and we're gonna hang out and smoke cigars and drink scotch. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, all right. And then
would you like some Grey Poupon with that?
Right. So, dude, yeah, I actually have to send you pictures of some of his crib. It's like a Gothic castle.
Oh, that's cool.
It's freaking crazy. Yeah, because he's an 80s dude and a horror fiend. So like when he had his house, he might. I got to talk him into it. But so like his whole house and everything looks like, I'm like, how did they do the shingles up there on those freaking pyres? Like looks literally like a castle. Like all of his kids' bedrooms have balconies that wrap around the house and shit. Like that kind of shit. Yeah. Like his pool has air conditioning.
Okay. Heated and air conditioned.
And then his wife, him and Jen are, thicker than thieves. And she's like, yeah, girl, we're going to get some, espresso martinis, and we're going to do some shots, and we're going to hang out while the boys hang out. And then Jaden and his cousin that is visiting, they're going to go jump in the pool and do the kid thing. So we're going to be getting toasted all freaking night long. And then we got cabins, which is like not even a quarter mile from his house, at the gas station. So we'll end up there. And then I got to get my ass home. And then so I'm going to be like, the beer that you see me drinking is probably going to be my breakfast during the show. Yeah. So that's my loose plans. But yeah, so I'm gonna get with the cats that I was telling you about, ultra 80s horror nerds, and that one dude who's a filmmaker and producer and all that. And yeah, you get your squad together and we'll meet up in the middle.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah, it does. I think it's gonna be fun as shit.
Well, hell yeah.
I mean,
how can you not have fun talking about 80s horror?
Right, exactly. Yeah. But all right, well, we've been on 2 and 5 minutes, so I guess give you shout outs, and we'll do the damn thing.
I mean, my shout outs are thanks for joining, everybody. We always have fun. Subscribe to Breezy, hit the bell notification so anytime we go live, you get notified. And then if you feel like it, pop on over to my channel, which is Our Paranormal World, or at Monica's Paranormal World, and give that a like, a subscribe, a little ringy dingy on the bell. And my closing statement tonight is caca, caca,
Cow!
caca.
Here, I gotta remember where I saw it, but I was watching a horror movie.
Okay, so I got it from Galaxy Quest. All right, they're trying to. The signal was caca, caca, caca.
Okay, all
They're
right.
coming.
Yeah, so I got it. Originally, I had it from Three Amigos. It was like, go, go, get her, you know, like. But I saw a freaking a horror flick recently. It's from the 80s, and that's exactly. It was like a regular random chick, and like I think it was like at a high school or something. Like maybe it was like Slumber High
Right.
or Slaughter High or something. Yeah, and she walks in and she's like, "Caw, caw," and I was like, "Dude, I gotta get that sound bite from Monica." Like, it'll be great.
I got it from. Okay, so the one was Galaxy Quest. The other one is I love The Sweetest Thing, the movie The Sweetest Thing, and towards the end of the movie, the Cameron Diaz's love interest is like sleeping on the sidewalk outside of her apartment, and her friends like get right up in his ear, and she goes, "Caw, caw."
Nice. That sounds exactly like you. Wait till Breezy's hung over in freaking New Orleans, wake him up with a caw.
Dude, you're lucky that I'm not around you while you're tripping balls, because I will jack with you.
I just don't suggest to do it that too early because you know that's not, I don't wear anything when I sleep, so
Well, I'm not going to come busting into your room cacawing. You're cool.
I would.
I like kick the door in. Cacaw, motherfuckers! Cacaw!
Cacaw, motherfucker! Time to go to the fridge, cacarder.
Time to go get some goddamn beignets! Cacaw!
Hell yeah!
We got to get to City Park before the tour buses arrive.
Dude, yeah, we have a blast. Oh, and yeah, so I'll try to figure out something else on. We'll do some more horror movie trivia, and so if anyone can make it down while we're down there, you get free drinks on Breezy.
Yeah. Are you keeping track of this? Do you have a shot log?
No, but I will.
Because I think we have some people that have won shots so far.
Well, if they show up and they're like, "I remember that," blah blah blah, then I'll just buy.
He'll just get a shot. We'll just buy a bunch of syringes. You get a syringe, and you get a syringe.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah. So everybody out there, also thank you for joining in. Get on Monica's channel, man. It's freaking awesome, and she's way easier on the eyes than I am. Even though we're both side by side.
We both got that long hair. We're both Apache, right? We're both Chiricahua.
Chiricahua. That's so weird.
I know, right?
I've never met another.
He's my cousin.
Yeah. Don't categorize as the cousin.
You're like, shut up.
Yeah, that can get weird.
In your head, Breezy, in your head. The cranberries. In your head.
Zombie. But yeah, thank all y'all for tuning in. Tune in on Monday. We're going to have a blast. And God bless each and every one of y'all. And thank y'all for showing up. And keep searching for the truth because it's out there. And you have not seen the last of us. We will be here weekly if not more than that.
Terrorizing YouTube one Friday night at a time.
Right? Absolutely. All right, y'all. Peace.
Bye.
Hey.